Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a highly analytical dive into a fascinating and frankly pretty alarming crisis scenario. We're looking at a source text that details a sudden, totally inexplicable demographic collapse within a closed population, which is then followed by a miraculous recovery. It's really a classic case study in risk management, communication protocols, and systemic failure. And we're going to break the whole thing down step by step. So let's get right into it. How exactly does a simple, everyday group outing escalate into the terrifying near-total loss of an entire population? We eventually reach a point where only one single individual returns from an expedition. I mean, that is a staggering attrition rate. To really grasp the magnitude of this event, we need to strip away our assumptions and look purely at the data and the timeline provided in the source material. Part 1. The initial departure. Establishing the baseline. All right, we kick things off with a strong, perfectly healthy starting population. We're talking exactly 5 little ducks. And they're under the direct supervision of just one authority figure, the mother duck. Now, at this stage, the system is totally stable. There are no indicated threats, no pre-existing conditions, and a full 100% accountability of all group members. 5 is our magic number here. It's the baseline against which all the subsequent disasters are going to be measured. But then, the inciting incident hits. These 5 subjects go swimming, and they navigate into this unspecified and, honestly, seemingly dangerous geographical void that the text just calls over the hill and far away. Think about the logistical nightmare this presents from a risk management perspective. Over the hill immediately establishes a break in the visual line of sight for the supervising mother duck, and far away, well, that introduces a massive, uncontrolled distance variable. They haven't just left the nest, they've left the bounds of safety entirely. Moving on to part 2, the attrition phenomenon, a systemic failure. Now, what is absolutely wild here is the exact, unyielding linear decay we start to see. If we break down the relationship between departures and returns, it's pretty grim. On outing 1, 5 leave, 4 return. Bam, a 20% loss of the total population right off the bat. On outing 2, the remaining 4 leave and only 3 return. That is a 25% loss of the current population. Outing 3, 3 leave, 2 return, a 33% loss. Every single departure results in exactly 1 permanent casualty. The sheer consistency of this attrition is what makes it so terrifying. It's not random at all. It's a perfectly predictable negative slope. And this downward trajectory just brilliantly illustrates the absolute urgency of the situation. The numbers are dropping so rapidly with each consecutive trip, stepping down with grim regularity. Honestly, if this were a stock portfolio or a corporate retention chart, alarm bells would literally be ringing across every single department. The system is bleeding resources, and the trend line points directly towards 0. Which brings us to part 3, the communication protocol. So this source text reveals this highly specific, repeating cycle of events where the subjects just keep vanishing, even though there's a very deliberate intervention attempt happening. We have step 1, the risky behavior, swimming over the hill. Step 2, the leader issues a specific command, and step 3, the inevitable devastating result of a reduced return rate. The truly fascinating part here is the complete lack of adaptation. The cycle just repeats, completely unaltered, despite its proven failure to retain the population. Now, the crucial point is that this simple phrase, quack, 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 it's not just a cute sound. It actually serves as a sophisticated, unwavering distress beacon that gets broadcast identically into the void every single time. It's her standard operating procedure. But as an emergency recall mechanism, its efficacy is deeply, deeply compromised. She broadcasts the signal, yet the attrition just continues. It really begs the question, is the signal not reaching far enough? Is it being intentionally ignored? Or is whatever lies over the hill actively preventing compliance with the recall order? Despite strict adherence to this communication protocol, we hit an absolute critical climax. We started with a robust state of 5 ducks, but now we're looking at a terrifying reality of just 1 returning duck. That is an 80% overall population loss. We are teetering on the absolute edge of total systemic collapse here. The margins for error are completely gone. Because if the pattern holds, the next outing will result in 0 returns. And that leads us into part 4, the total system recovery. With the population literally hanging by a thread, the final lone duck makes that fateful, high-risk journey over the hill and far away. I mean, think of the tension here. Based on the established data models we just looked at, this individual has a 100% probability of disappearing, just like the 4 before it.
The mother duck deploys her auditory beacon, triggering her quack, quack, quack protocol one last time into the unknown. And then, the impossible happens. Miraculously, totally defying all the established statistical models from the previous departures, all 5 little ducks come back. Our baseline is instantly restored to 5. It turns out those lost assets weren't permanently deleted after all. They were just somehow sequestered out of sight. The sheer unpredictability of this recovery completely shatters the linear decay model we built earlier. Yet, incredibly, the source material just calmly wraps up this massive demographic roller coaster and harrowing crisis event by simply and honestly shockingly stating, "Wasn't that lovely? See you soon." Seriously, there's no debrief, no investigation into where those 4 missing ducks were held, no revision of the safety protocols for future swimming expeditions whatsoever. Just a placid acceptance of an incredibly traumatic statistical anomaly. It's a stunningly calm conclusion to a near-catastrophic event. This whole explainer leaves us with a pretty profound lesson in resilient communication. The mother duck never once stopped broadcasting her signal, and eventually, it yielded a 100% recovery rate. But it absolutely forces us to ask this lingering final question. What truly happened over that hill? What forces were holding those individuals back, and what ultimately compelled them to return en masse? As you go about your day, I want you to think about the hills in your own datasets, those blind spots where logic seems to disappear, only to miraculously resolve itself. Thanks so much for joining me for this analysis, and as always, keep questioning the data.